Okay. We're good? Welcome back to our CAC meeting of October 14th. We just took a brief recess and we're back in session now at 5 p.m. Council, we have a set of minutes from the September 8th Council Advisory Committee meeting. Are there any changes to this set of minutes? There are none, so we will file those as presented. We now move on to department reports and recommendations. I would invite the Director of Finance up to present her report.
I have included in my report some information around what the Department of Finance has been up to over the last month, as well as our financial position. So I'm only going to go through a couple of highlights. Wanted to ensure that Council was aware that we are in compliance with all of our provincial as well as our regulatory reporting with NSRAB. So you'll see the detail of those items. We are in compliance is important when it comes to us asking for new debt or anything. You have to have all of those ducks in a row before you would be eligible. So it's important for you to be aware of that. No surprises in our year-to-date August results for operations. Our forecast right now is at budget, and as we get through the summer season, we have a much better idea of where our Parks and Recreation forecast may need to be amended. So we'll have a better idea of that for next month. And that will let us know where we stand for some of the higher expenses that come through transportation over the winter. On the capital side, you will have seen the report that gives our budget compared to our actual and our variance and our forecast. There is forecast adjustments. Some of them are fairly significant. We have some canceled projects, some projects under budget, and a couple that were significant, and they are either tendered or the tender is ready to go, but they will be delayed until the beginning of next new year. Those are detailed in the colored chart for you, which will show the forecast for each of the projects and where they are in their process. Nothing of major concern in those areas. You will also notice that our tax due date of October 1st had passed before this report was circulated. So you can see from the report that we are at 6.5% of our taxes remaining at October 1st. The percentage of those taxes outstanding have improved over this time last year. Last year it was 8.2%. So we're 21% better off, or 1.7 percentage points better. And looking at the number of accounts that we have, we are actually doing better on that as well. Our number of accounts outstanding are 444 this year versus 472 last year. So it's helpful when those go in line with each other. Last year they did not. We had more accounts, but more money coming in, but also more accounts outstanding. This year they've kind of gone in line. They've both dropped. So that is good news at this point, because we will get a lot of additional payments in the month of October, as usual. So those are the areas I wanted to update from the report that I provided. I also wanted to share with Council an update around, we do report periodically or monthly. We post what Mayor and Councillor expense account budgets and actuals are. So I'm going to share with you what those, you may have seen something pre-circulated, but we do have a budget for Mayor and Council for your expenses of $23,000. The prior year, it was $28,000. If you recall, Council made a decision in this budget year to approve $5,000 for KCA program. And so the cost of that was evenly distributed across Mayor and Council. So when you see the budget of 9284 and 2286, it looks very specific, but it's because we would have reduced it by that distribution of the $714 or so each to bring that down. So our budget is now at the $23,000. Our actual expenditures, these would be anything that you would have submitted for reimbursement or we would have paid on your behalf up to today. So that amount you can see is 787 for the mayor, and then by councillor, the amounts are there, coming to a total of 3824, and the budget remaining is 19,176 in total, and it is distributed differently across each of the councillors and mayor's account. The mayor's account generally has had more budget because of the activities that the mayor has been involved in the past. So there's more capacity there for them to be out and about or representing the town. And the councillors' budgets are all distributed evenly. So that report does show on our website every month. So we do update that. Wanted to make sure that you're aware of that as you may not go on our website and see it, as well as you often have decisions that you're making around what it is you'd like to do. So that is my report for this evening. I'm happy to answer any questions you have on the content.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor Kroll.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. Thank you for your report, Director. Under Transportation Services, you've mentioned that legal expenses have exceeded the full budget at this point in time.
Yep.
Can you give an idea as to what has happened legally that the Transportation Services would be picking up?
I'll ask Dave or Director Bell if he has anything to add. I would say this year versus last year, we've changed the process so that we're looking in more detail around who initiated the transactions with our legal counsel. So it's probably more accurately divided, not all added in admin. So that's one thing. So I'm not sure that you could attribute all of it to increased legal activity within transportation, just a better delineation of who is actually engaging our counsel. As well, there has been a fair bit of work in preparation for some of the major projects that we've had council support for, particularly Donald E. Hiltz.
Right.
So that is charged, some of that is charged right to that account. So that is why. And it's a very small budget within transportation.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Thanks.
as you might recall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has, the budget hasn't changed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Any other questions for Councillor Savage?
Thank you, Mayor, and through you to Director Matthews. Under operations where it's discussed the data collection and the analysis for the water utilities 5-year rate, the latter part of that just says that that the utility will submit the report to the Nova Scotia Regulatory and Appeals Board with the proposed rate adjustments. So when that is submitted, then that comes back to us, and then we make further decisions around the rate adjustments, or those rate adjustments are what we go with.
I will defer to CAO. It's my first time through the process, but
Okay.
my understanding is we will receive a draft report with those recommendations before that would move forward to NSU or RAB.
Yes.
If I may defer to CAO.
Yes, that's correct. Similar to the sewer rates, you
Okay.
you received a detailed report.
Yes.
Right now, this is with the consultant and our two staff, Director Bell and Director Matthews, trying to get through the complicated process of allocating out the costs for each division.
Okay.
For each part of the water utility. And so that when that report is finalized, it'll come back to council for review.
Okay.
And then council will adopt that report or make some revisions. And
Yeah.
then it'll get submitted to the NSRAB. And then they will hold, typically they hold hearings in the community. So they'll hold a hearing in the community.
Okay.
And allow the public to have comment on it as well before there's a final ratification. At the end of the day, the NSRAB will make the decision though as what the rates are.
For sure. Okay, great. Thank you.
Councillor Baker.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. Under Parks and Recreation, we're talking about arena repairs. Your first line just says, existing arena repairs exceeded prior year-to-date spending. Is that, I'm just looking for our existing budget compared to what we spent. Is that a comparison that you do, or is that?
It is. I don't have that number right on me.
Okay.
I would have when I wrote the report. But I know Director Langell was able to answer my question when I asked
Okay,
that. So I'm going to
I'll
ask
wait
him
till
to
later.
share that detail.
Okay.
If you can, Craig. Yeah.
So typically the budget is I believe, $50,000. And we had some work that happened at the very beginning of the year in regards to the condenser and all the overtime and the call-ins to Simcoe. So over the course of the year, a lot of our spending has happened pretty much right away compared to the arena just opening, where we see some less spending happening. So we do forecast a little bit higher spending in that area just from some of the work that took place in February and March.
We did have that early closure.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
It escaped me, I didn't know. Thank you for the question.
I guess there are no more questions. Thank you very much. We'll now move on to Director Shoup with Planning and Development.
Thank you, Your Worship, and good evening, Mayor and Council. Fairly quick report tonight. In terms of numbers for the month of September, there were 11 development permits that were issued with an estimated construction value of approximately $1.5 million. No site plan approval applications this month or last month. 3 subdivision applications were received, and we have some images there to indicate there's 1 on Aberdeen and 2 on Chester Avenue to report. Also, 1 new planning application to mention. Bryson Developments has requested the town consider a proposed amendment to the land use bylaw, which would allow under certain specific conditions the issuance of building permits prior to final subdivision approval. So the next step for that, now that we've received it, is to we've scheduled a public participation meeting for October 30th at 5 p.m. in council chambers. In terms of the ongoing files, there's a public hearing set for October 27th regarding the amendments to the land use bylaw and subdivision bylaw regarding phasing that we went through in some length at the last meeting. So luckily we won't have to do that again tonight. And then the remainder are basically ongoing ones that we track as they work through different phases of the process, and nothing significant to report, but happy to answer questions on those. Lastly, for community and economic development, as we see around town, Pumpkin People Festival is in full swing and runs till October 26th. So those are still out and about. And also, on a somewhat related note, the Visitor Information Center will remain in operation till the end of the month of October as well. So happy to answer any questions you may have.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Director. Are there any questions for Director Shoup? Councillor Savage.
Thank you, Worship, and through you to Director Shoup. The 242 Chester Avenue, the Bryson development, he has requested the land use bylaw be amended. How much land is that up there? That piece?
These would be separate issues. The 242 Chester is not related to the Bryson application.
It looks like it is. It looks like it's all related. I apologize.
No, I'm glad you pointed that out. Happy to explain that the application for land use bylaw amendment is more of a general application, not specific to a particular property.
Okay. So what are these Chester ones?
These are two separate applications for subdivision approval.
Oh, okay.
Same as Aberdeen. So these are three separate subdivision applications.
Okay. Okay. My apology. Sorry.
Any further questions for Director Shoup? Okay, thank you very much. We'll now receive the report from Recreation from Director Langell.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So you have for the month of September our departmental report. First, I'd like to give a thank you to Roxy Peterson, our Neighborhood Outreach Program Coordinator, who served the community for the past 2 years and has moved on to a new role. So I just wanted to first off say thank you to him. The event schedule has been posted for holidays. You can find that at kentville.ca/holidays. And then my final update would be under facilities and operations. The Culver Bridge to Walterwood Playground has been set. There's still some work remaining from grouting and to putting a bumper in along the side of the bridge. So that work is still remaining, but should happen in the near future. The KCA swing bridge replacement is actually complete now. That's under current projects in process. And then the arena parking lot patch paving under remaining projects is complete as well. So there's only 2 more projects remaining for our department to complete. And that's it for Parks and Recreation. Any questions?
Perfect, thank you very much. Any questions for Director Langell? I guess not a one, thank you. We'll now invite up Chief Smith to give the Kentville Police report.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, CAO, and Deputy Clerk / Alicia. August report from Police Service. Start with our operating and capital. So capital, we're pretty much done all of our purchases. I think we have actually one that we're returning. We've had discussions in our last board meeting, firearms that were purchased. There's been some stuff in the media recently on an incident that happened in another province, and based on that, although it hasn't been resolved yet, we've decided to return these firearms and proceed on a different route. So that'll be put on hold for a little while. Operating budget's on target. We'll note that our back check staff operating is actually a fair bit below budget. We had someone go off on maternity leave, so we've had some part-timers filling that gap, and our revenue side is actually above where it should be as of the end of August. So that's good to hear. As far as statistics goes, calls for service were up again in August from 335 in the previous year to 371. We had our cadet that I would say sponsored. We didn't pay for his way, but we reserved a seat for him at the academy, and then he returned worked agreement with KPS. He graduated in August. It seems like, well, it's been almost 2 months ago now, but he started with us full-time for 1 year, and yeah, he's here for a 1 year term. So he's working out quite well. Statistics on with that. So our community engagement sergeant's been working a lot with stakeholders in the community that we have been working with a lot lately to try to get a better relationship with. So he's reached out to several of these stakeholders, hosting meetings, and try to make sure that we're all on similar pages and working towards the same goals. As I've mentioned before, I believe we have a lot of people, organizations that want to do a lot of great things, but the problem is sometimes there's repetition and when it doesn't need to happen. So hopefully we can have some further reports and discussions on that in the future. As I mentioned last time, our navigator is no longer with us. His statistics were quite high again in August, though. We're currently still looking, I think it was posted again today, so we're still currently looking to fill that position. GIS was busy. Actually, he was able to solve one of the grandparent scams, charge somebody from Quebec with fraud over $5,000, which, I'll be honest, a lot of times those are hard to deal with. So it was nice to see that he was able to get enough to lay a charge in that file. That's pretty much it for our report of important stuff, unless anybody says any questions.
Thank you. Councillor Maxwell.
Thank you, Chief.
Yes.
I'm just wondering, when do most of the calls for service come in? Like what time of day? Are most of them night calls or?
Daytime.
Most of them are daytime?
Yeah.
Yeah. And is our complement that's out the same in the evenings as it is during the day?
No, we'd have more staff work in the day in the sense of not just myself and the deputy being in the office, but then you have your community engagement sergeant. You have typically GISs in the office, CIS and S's in the office. So there's bylaws out on patrol. So yeah, for the most part, if you go to an evening, the most up until about 10, the most you could have would be 5. Yeah.
Okay, maybe my question wasn't specific enough, but I didn't know if I could ask you. like on patrol? The number of people on patrol.
Yeah.
Is
So
that the same during the day or
So
is it the evening or?
patrol-wise, yes.
Patrol-wise.
Patrol-wise, yes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, yeah. But if you were to come in town in the daytime,
Right,
you're gonna see
there's
more police officers than you would at night. Yeah,
Right, yes, okay, good, thank you.
yeah. You're welcome.
Councillor Savage.
Thank you, Your Worship, through you to the chief. Chief, I know that you're at full complement right now, or you're pretty close to full complement, but I'm just wondering if there, if there are any concerns around staffing or right now, anybody poaching from KPS, and are you looking for any sort of other types of training and for some of the current officers so that we don't lose the good ones that we have? All of that, meaning all of them.
It's, so 2024 was a tough year for sure. We've replaced 7 members of an 18-member force. That's, math-wise, that's quite a bit. It's over a third, right? So
Yeah.
The board's not aware of it yet because we haven't had a board meeting, so they'll probably hear this now and ask why I haven't told them yet, so I'll deal with that later. But we've had one person resign that is leaving and going to the RCMP. So, well, actually, they do know. I did send them an email. They do know that. Sorry, it's been a long week. So, yes, there's no, I'd like to say there was an end to it, but again, we're here again. So losing a 5-year great member that comes from a lot of training received in those 5 years, fantastic member. With that, it's basically walking out the door, and the RCMP gains all that, right? So can't predict those things. You can't hold them back. Reasoning has nothing to do with the service and anything we can change. In this situation, it's more about goals. So it's not something we could, there's nothing we could do about it in this sense, but it's still tough.
Yeah, and I think, when you're looking at RCMP compared to Kentville Police Services and in terms of the salary piece, the pension piece, all those sorts of things, they're pretty comparable. They're pretty comparable now, right? Yeah, okay, so that's important for folks to know.
They have better benefits in some cases for sure, yes. Their pension is better, yes, but I think we got to a point where I think we need to be.
Yes.
But yeah, it's not that side of it.
Okay. So is there anything additional that you could be doing or that we could be doing with the officers that would?
Yeah, not at this point.
Okay.
I think is, like I said, the big thing last year was to get the salaries to where they needed to be.
Right.
To get the benefits to where they needed to be.
Okay.
And beyond that, there's only so much we can do. If people are gonna go and want to go,
Sure.
It's pretty hard to hold them back. So,
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah, I don't think it was an easy decision on this member's part.
No,
so,
probably
yeah,
not.
no.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.
Councillor Baker.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, Chief.
Yep.
In reading the reports, I'm trying to compare last year's over this year's. Are these a number of interactions? So if we look at calls for service, could that interaction then end up in a criminal charge?
Yes.
So they might be duplicated as far as the numbers are concerned, or?
No, they wouldn't be duplicated. So you'll see there on the sheet that it says how many actual criminal charges were laid.
Yes. 20.
So out of the 371 calls for service, on 20 occurrences, someone was charged.
Okay, so is that a total?
The total number, yeah.
Okay,
So
but
if
is
you're
that-
asking if you could be charged with 2 of those?
Yes.
From one call?
Yes.
Yes, you could. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a way, I don't know if it's appropriate for us to see it or not, but to see the breakdown in how the calls, not so much recorded, but how you would attribute the need for their service? Like one is a health-related one is shoplifting or whatever, and see what
Where
those
are
breakdowns
resources?
are? Because if we see a continual increase in shoplifting, for example, is there something that we can do at our end to help the business owners, if that's the trend that we're seeing, like, because you've indicated every month that or at least in the last few that I can remember, that it's an increase for calls for service. Can they be attributed to one or two causes, or?
So to go back, previous years, we used to provide that. It's pretty heavy. There's a lot of pages and a lot of things to go through. We used to present it to board, and board would then obviously present it to council, but it's something we can certainly discuss if council would like to see a breakdown of where the calls of service are going. It's not hard to compile. I can tell you that I was tasked with finding out call volume wise, how much time and where the calls are coming from, and just shy of 1/3 of the calls are based in the downtown core so far this year. So when you're talking almost 3,000 calls for service, about 1,000 of them have been involved in the downtown core.
Okay, and then I would be interested to know if they're a residential, domestic issue, or if they're commercial. Is that
A lot of wellness calls,
wellness? Yeah.
loitering, trespassing, summary offense tickets, shoplifting. Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that. I don't mean to take more of your time.
No,
but
that's
I
fine.
appreciate that.
That's why I'm here.
I guess that's it. Thank you very much, Chief Smith.
Thank you.
Director Bell's up next with Public Works and Engineering.
Pretty department.
The pretty department, right? Well, downtown looks pretty, so
thank you.
we'll give them that.
Haven't been called pretty lately. No.
First for everything. And last.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As I've mentioned, I'll start with the Water Commission. As I mentioned at the last meeting, we have awarded this year's residential meter contract to complete the replacement of approximately 380 residential meters. Folks will be notified by the meter company in the subdivisions of the older phases of Palmater. Palmater is all old, I guess. Palmater, Glenwood, and the older phases of McDougall Heights. And we need to find some other nearby meters, perhaps out in Bonavista and Baden-Powell, with the meters that are more than 15 years old, to make up that 380 budgeted complement. So at the current rate, it will take another 5 years to complete this project. Then we'll have about a 10-year break and have to start replacing them again, as they have a finite life now of 20 years. So this will greatly increase both the accuracy of water used and billed, and greatly reduce the time required to read the meters. This project is planned to be completed this fall before the end of the calendar year. I'm going to skip ahead to the downtown AT project. As most of everyone's aware, that part was wrapped up yesterday. The sidewalks were completed about a week ago, and then yesterday took advantage of the not Labor Day. Yesterday was Thanksgiving. Thank you, holiday, to pave and paint the section of Webster Street, which is part of the trunk paving project. Did that from Bridge Street to the intersection at the lights of Aberdeen and Bridge and Webster, rather. I'll say it right. Aberdeen and Webster. Thank you. So we'll be moving on to the next step of the AT project, which is curb and asphalt sidewalk replacement and installation at the top of from Church Avenue to Academy Street. And this will better control the water runoff as it comes down the steep hill of Prospect that has been impacting homes along that stretch, and then connect the AT component from Church to Academy, increasing pedestrian safety. Under grid, out front here, this construction in front of Town Hall, all the way down to the liquor store, it's progressing well. Things were slow at the beginning with several unknowns in the first 100 meters or so in that area, but progressing well. Now the pipe is up to basically in front of Town Hall, so they put a pause on the pipe to focus on grading for curb, which I was told today the curbing machine will be in town Monday coming, next week. They'll curb that whole section really in a day from the liquor store to around the corner of Church Avenue, and then start working on sidewalk, and then the pipe crew will do the last remaining section of pipe from in front of Town Hall to Prospect, but there's some gaps in there where there is no need for storm sewer as they cross the road a few places, so that part will go much quicker than the first half. So still plan to be completed by early December, hopefully even a little sooner, weather permitting. And as part of the as part of this project, Public Works, actually with our own forces, we're replacing a fire hydrant this evening in front of the King's Arms pub. So we'll have water off at 6, another half an hour as I leave this meeting, be going over to get the water turned off to replace that hydrant, which is 65 or so years old, can't get parts for it. So this is the time to do it before we put the new sidewalk in that section. The only other thing I guess I had was just an update on Public Works. This year's capital works upgrades to the Public Works building are complete, which included 2 new fire escapes, exterior and interior painting and wall repair, and a new town fleet fuel pump that all of our departments use for both gas and diesel. So repairs and repainting of the upper level will be recommended in next year's budget. I think that's the highlights of my report.
Thank you. Any questions for Director Bell? Councillor Baker.
Thank you, Your Worship. So the Donald D. Hiltz connector is progressing as intended?
It is.
And what's the timeline on that for?
Timeline for this construction season will take us right through again till to December, most likely. Right now, they had a window which they completed basically right at the end of September, which included the work in the water courses. So all culvert work had to be done by the end of September, even though it was a very dry summer. We could have asked for an extension, but didn't need to. They worked right through till the end on that. So they're focusing now on the water main replacement on the east end, I guess, out near Prospect, which is some realignment and replacing of that water line that was in an easement from 25 years ago. Once that's done, the rest of it will just be stormwater management ponds and rock lining and seeding and dishing. So it's on target to be complete for this fiscal or this calendar year, I should say, prior to sort of winter slowdown. Next year we'll see another phase, which will include the tendering of a water tower to replace the one in the industrial park, and some other waterworks. But for the most part, that will complete the ICIP funded portion of the Hiltz Road. It will remain, gated and closed because it isn't a street. It won't be the top lifter gravels and pavement and curbing. Will all be a future date when hopefully we find some additional funding to help us complete that project. So, but everything is on target.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councillor Savage.
Thank you, Worship. Through you to Director Bell. Not a question, just a comment about the AT project. I think it looks fantastic, and I talked to different people in the community, and they're saying the same thing, that it's nice to see all this work being done, and the paving and the sidewalks. So, yeah, to you and Ahmad and team, thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor.
The mayor does a day-by-day recap of what's happening, and I think
exciting.
people appreciate it.
Looks
Yeah,
great.
it is exciting. So,
Hopefully we have some more provincial funding for
yeah,
some more paving in the years to come.
yes, yeah, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Director.
Thank you. Everybody, thank you.
Well, thanks to the staff. We have an update here under old business regarding the Memorial Pool renovation. Mr. Gerard's going to present that.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Following last spring's pool renovation, staff observed several issues with the components that were replaced. So there was inadequate function of the circulatory system. We couldn't sustain operation of the filtration when we initially tried to start up. And we also observed excessive paint peeling from the walls of the pool tank throughout the season. So we contacted Ground Force, and work was planned for following closing to be carried out at no additional cost to the town to fix these matters. The work was originally planned, I've included a timeline here in this document. The work was originally planned for September 1st to October 5th. And that's obviously been exacerbated by a couple factors. Mainly, the concern over the planning of the new piping. So we're like, this piping didn't function. We obviously got through the season, but we modified the operations. So our staff was able to get through, but we wanted it to function as it should. When they sent us these initial plans, we went back with some concerns. We've consulted with knows the facility quite well. We have reached an understanding, and we've approved a plan for that installation. But I am awaiting a schedule, an updated schedule for how they're going to address this. So as of right now, I do not have any updated schedule or amended schedule to reflect what they're going to do, but I was in touch last week, and I've been told by Ground Forces team that they'll provide that update and have that carried out ahead of winter. And most importantly, no delay or disruption is expected for next season at all. It'll all be wrapped up, and a final walkthrough is also to be done next June. I'll take your questions.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Any questions for Mr. Gerard? Councillor Baker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for keeping on top of this. So the primary problem was the undersizing of the pipes for the circulation, is that what we're understanding?
Correct, yes.
And so how would that have been designed in the first place? Like, did they put forward on their tender that they would be using 2-inch pipe instead of 2.5, or?
So yes, so through the process, it was all kind of fast-tracked.
Yeah, to get it going, yeah.
So my conversation with the project team was, because initially we didn't even request that the piping be replaced. My concerns were the pool tank and the pool deck.
Right.
So initially, that's all we wanted done. And the contractor said, look, I can't recall what the actual price, but for this much more, we can fix all your piping. And I said, okay, it has to sustain function as we have right now. And we were hoping that the leak was gonna be fixed, but that was. But then I had taken photos the whole time. So anyways, we go to open up, go to start up the pump, and the pool's not functioning, can't hold a prime. So it's kicking out. So I went back to some consultants and I was like, hey, this is what they put in here. This won't work, why? And they were like, that piping's not large enough. And I didn't possess the plans to the pool. It was built in the late 50s, I believe. But this contractor had them for our pool. So a month ago, I got these plans and it showed the pipe size that was in there originally, because they just ripped it out and got rid of it. So it was much larger. And I went back to Ground Force, and this is what I was like, hey, it's inadequate. Obviously, there's a discrepancy here. And they said, nope, not sure what happened there. I didn't speak to the people on site. I spoke to the CEO. And they said, nope, we'll replace it. And they came back with a proposed drawing. We came back, said, no, change this. And that's how we've gotten here. So we're confident in the plans for the revised piping scheme.
Okay.
It's just a matter of, we're now waiting on a schedule. When are you gonna come? When is this gonna be carried out? That sort of thing.
Understood. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? I guess that's it. Thank you very much for that update.
Thank you.
We'll now move on to terms of reference for the nominating committee. Council approved several terms of reference documents for various committees going forward to reflect the future community and development needs for the town and community. Currently, there's no formal structure in place to appoint persons to these committees. So we have a recommendation here that a nominating committee be established to consider council interest as well as community fairness in the appointment of persons to these committees. So, any questions on it before we, that's okay. Any questions? I guess there's none. So, the recommendation would be that CAC recommend to the October 27th meeting of council, the council approve the proposed terms of reference for a nominating committee. You want to move it now? Councillor Savage, and a second, Deputy Mayor Kroll. Any discussion on that? Guess there's none. It has been moved, so I'll call for the question. It has been moved and seconded that CAC recommend to the October 27th meeting of council that council approve the proposed terms of reference for a nominating committee. And voting is almost open. We're open. You just gotta hit it a couple times.
Remember to point it towards me.
There.
There it is, yeah. There we go.
And voting is now closed, and the motion is carried. The next item, we are under proposed bylaw, 201, which is 201 noise bylaw. So anything you want to present on that, CAO, or?
Sure, I can just give you a brief
Okay.
background. So the former deputy clerk did a significant amount of research that's in this report here today that gives a background of a bunch of what's happened with this council or with the town over the last number of years, as well as research for what takes place for noise bylaws in other municipalities. So credit goes to her for all that detailed research that took place. We've had a couple of requests from members of the public for some amendments or some issues that have come up in the town. And so staff are proposing just a few wording amendments to help alleviate those, or at least give some teeth to the police to be able to enforce some of those provisions. The current bylaw is very detailed as far as noise meters and so on and so forth. All the research says those don't work. They're not enforceable for the most part. They don't hold up in court. And so what staff have done have created a bylaw that's very simplistic. Simply says if it disturbs the quiet of the neighborhood, similar to what the police would do now. If somebody is making noise, the police would come and deal with the issue under disturbing the peace or whatever, and it becomes a decision point for the police. There's no specific details of what that looks like in the criminal code. In the same way, there's no specific details. If one person believes it's disturbing the neighborhood, and the police investigation believes, yes, what the noise is unreasonable, then they can lay the charges in the neighborhood. The person who complains obviously would have to be a witness or give some type of affidavit to the situation if they wish to proceed. So that's simply, Mr. Chairman, what it looks like. Is very simplistic, but also we believe it's now something that's much more enforceable. And if somebody complains, it doesn't get into noise meters, it doesn't get into distances, all those types of things. As you can see on the chart that's provided, a couple cars driving down the road at the same time would exceed the noise meter in that community. And so some of those things are very hard to judge, and so on and so forth. So this is proposed to be a much simpler enforcement process, much cleaner, and it also addresses the couple community issues. One was around the time of day, and the time of day isn't suggested to be changed based on the proposal or based on what's taking place in other municipalities. The time of day seems very reasonable for people to be able to carry out their own projects or their own initiatives in their own property. So that is not being proposed to change. There is one change there, though, for the other one, which is in section the prohibitions on section 3.2. So someone can't disturb the neighborhood by dumping or placement of debris that's not from their property outside the hours of 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. So that would apply to the whole town. So if you're going to do work on your property, you can do that. You can infill it. You can do as you need to. There's no law against that. But if you're going to do it on the evenings and weekends, you're bringing in stuff from other properties, then you're restricted. If it's unreasonably disturbs the neighborhood, then the police can be called and there could be charges laid if somebody is continually doing it and ignoring the law. Okay, so it's to help to bring some level of quietness to residential neighborhoods outside of the normal 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 workday.
Thank you very much. I'll open the floor to questions. Councillor Savage.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you to the CAO. So thank you for your work on this. I know the previous council, we did a lot of work back in, I guess it would have been like 2020 and 2021 and 2022 and decibel readings and all those sorts of stuff. That was very, Councillor Maxwell, I'm sure, remembers. There was a lot of conversation around what was acceptable decibels. So I like that chart, the noise level chart. One of the things that I don't recall, and I've had this conversation with a few residents as of late, was the peace and good order bylaw. Around like no person within the town shall make any unnecessary noise which is disturbing to other people. I don't recall that being repealed. And moreover, I like the wording in that, and I'm wondering if it can somehow be in this revised bylaw 201. Because I think, the chief's gone now, but the chief talked about, calls for service escalating. We're hearing it from residents, like really foul language in the downtown and surrounding areas and things like that. And residents ask us, I think as a council, like, what's acceptable? And is that okay that people are using this kind of language and they're screaming and hollering or what have you? And what provision do you have in place so that we can make a complaint? So I didn't know that was repealed. I thought it still stood, but if it was repealed, and I just don't recall, then is there some way to incorporate that piece of it back in? I think that's important to residents of Kentville. So thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have that bylaw in front of me.
Okay.
But just based on your comments about people swearing, that wouldn't be a noise issue. That would be a disturbing the public issue. That would be a loitering issue, which the chief talked about. They've laid a number of charges. So that would be a separate issue from noise, if that's the intent of that bylaw.
I don't know what the intent of the peace and good order. I think it's a very old bylaw. But when they talk about shall not make any unnecessary noise which is disturbing to other people, it's pretty general.
But I can take a look at it before it comes to council.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Maxwell.
Okay, so just a clarification on the debris issue. So between 9 a.m. Shouldn't happen between 9 and 5, and then also between 10 and 7, 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. Is that correct?
So if I may,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, so the bylaw applies to everybody 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. for any noise.
Any noise,
Any
okay.
noise. And the second part is notwithstanding that if it's debris, dumping of debris in a residential neighborhood or that fashion, over and above the 10 to 7, you can only do that from 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. So that's much more restrictive.
Okay, yeah.
So normally on those properties, you could do anything out from, I guess, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Yeah.
But if it's going to be something to do with debris and those types of things, you're restricted even more.
Okay. And one other question. Where does the town of Kentville stand on backyard fireworks? Because there's a lot of people who have approached me who have animals that are reacting badly to fireworks taking place not just in holidays, but whenever somebody has a celebration at their house, they discharge fireworks in their backyard or in a public space like up in Oakdean Park. And I'm just wondering where that falls in here, because I think maybe we need to have a discussion on fireworks use in the town. Maybe just for celebrations, but I don't know if that comes under this or.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, so if it's something like fireworks right now, I think it's banned right now because of the fire ban, so I don't think you're allowed to shoot fireworks off anywhere in Nova Scotia right now. But normally that would come under, not necessarily noise, that would come under public safety or a fireworks bylaw that restricted the time of day. But fireworks really is federal jurisdiction. So for us, if we did put some provisions in, then it would be the police that would have to enforce it. And fireworks are legal, so I'm not sure unless it's a public safety issue. So if somebody was to shoot off fireworks that landed on somebody else's home and it became a danger to public safety, then potentially the police could lay some charges there. But just shooting off fireworks that are a legal entity that you can purchase at the corner store, that becomes a little more problematic. I don't know the legal parameters around that part of it. But I would think this year, because of the fire ban, you're not allowed to shoot fireworks anywhere this year, I would think.
No, that's,
And I know many communities have canceled community fireworks this year because of that reason, so.
yeah, okay.
Councillor Baker.
I'm just wondering on the history of hospital zones in Kentville, Kentville being a valley, whether that affects the noise bylaw, whether we've ever had a hospital zone, or whether that is something that we need to take into consideration, and then by extension, long-term care facilities that might fall within a quiet zone.
Hasn't been considered. I haven't seen that in any bylaw anywhere else. It's,
Okay.
because most of them are inside, I guess if you're in a hospital or in a nursing home, you're inside a building. And you're usually quite a distance away from other activities that would be noise generating, so, yeah. I haven't seen it anywhere else.
Okay.
So it wasn't considered, no.
Councillor Hamilton.
So just following up, Councillor Savage and Maxwell, in the Berwick example on there, they have that listed in their noise, and they also do have the firework in there. And I do agree with them with that being included with the noise as well, because sometimes, you know, that can be quite noisy. And I like how they have a lot of that laid out in there, but I don't know. I feel like ours is just a little bit too generic.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, so we have a recommendation here that council, or CAC recommend to the October 27th meeting of council that council give first reading to bylaw 201 respecting noise. I have a mover and a shaker. Okay, Deputy Mayor Kroll and Councillor Andrew is a seconder. Any discussion? Councillor Savage.
Thank you, Worship, through you to the CAO. So if there is some additional vernacular put in there around like what's used under that piece in good order, even though we've moved it forward, that addition or insertion can still happen, right?
Yes, it hasn't gone to first reading yet. It doesn't go to first reading till council.
Okay.
So it can still have those changes made before it actually
I'm
hits
good.
first
Yeah.
reading. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
And then
Yeah.
there's all these opportunity between first and second reading
Yeah.
to make additional changes if needed.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Maxwell.
Thank you. So, to the CAO, could we have a look at something in the area with fireworks? And even though they're permitted federally, I think we might be able to have a bylaw in our town that limits fireworks.
Separate to this, you mean?
Separate
Yeah.
to this, but I think it's something that council should discuss and see if if it is something that we should consider. I know probably fireworks are gonna go out in a few years anyway with laser shows instead of fireworks shows, but it is something that a number of people, and there's a lot of residents in town that are having problems with that. So.
Okay. All right, so I guess there's no more discussion. It has been moved and seconded that CAC recommend to the October 27th meeting of council that council give first reading to bylaw 201 respecting noise. And voting is now open. Voting is now closed, and the motion is carried. We have no pieces of correspondence tonight. That concludes our business for tonight. I will open the floor now to public comments. I will invite members of the public up to the podium. Just state your name and you will have exactly 3 minutes to speak.
Get everybody back to work after vacations and everything. I just wanted to say that it was a great hockey game by the police and the fire department for muscular
was.
dystrophy. It was the first one for the year, and I was really impressed with the police. That was one of the most exciting hockey games I've ever seen at the end. The crowd was into it. You could feel it, couldn't you? You were there.
You could, I was there.
You could feel it in the air. And so next year, firemen, look out.
You're gonna play, are you?
I wanted to play for them, but I was too late showing up. But maybe next year I will.
Thank you very much. Anybody else from the public want to get up and speak? Or okay. Well, thank you very much. We now have in-camera business we need to tend to, so I will take a motion to enter in camera. Deputy Mayor Kroll and Councillor Savage as a seconder. All those in favor? Those opposed? The motion is carried.
Take a 5-minute break.
We'll take a 5-minute break.
You're just doing that push.
There's
no money on it. Sure there is.
We bet big time here.
It's all the coffee.
Well, look at that thing, it's, that jar is massive.
I remember there was discussion, it was a discussion about up near Palmer somewhere about a swimming pool. About the noise. Remember there was.
Oh, well, when we got into the noise, it was the ballpark when they had long games and
Yeah, that's the ballpark.
swimming pool and there was swim meets and, I mean, we can't do anything.
But the fireworks, I'll tell you, some nights I can tell from my dog's behavior, she's terrified, and she'll look for
Yeah,
a
it's
closet.
terrifying for him.
Oh, it totally freaks her out, and then she's, even the next day, she's shaking.
camera meeting.
And,
We have people losing animals, right, like they're out in the backyard and they'll take off over the fence or whatever. Oh, I was like,
Well, that happened, I remember a few years ago, my dog got away and the whole
Yeah.
night of Kentville police chasing my dog, I was up, I drove through the hills.
Yes, I remember that, yeah.
And I don't know how she didn't have a heart attack, but she was seen up in Palmer, like she was
Yeah.
running like.
Oh, my dog would run the same, and she would run until she was dead. But there's a lot of people in town with animals, with dogs,
Right.
that it's affecting them, so.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.